I've often thought about what would the perfect player look like.
It might play the game in a completely different way from the way that we play it.
As a chess player, you want to know more about chess, you want to get deeper, and there is so much still to learn.
AlphaZero played a match against Stockfish, which was the strongest computer that we all knew, and it won the match.
And all of a sudden I thought, wow,
does this really work? How does it know how to do it?
I started thinking, oh, it's quite interesting, and there's just a couple of games that went bang.
And these were very exciting games, very attacking games, giving pawns away right at the early stages of the game. The other computers were thinking, well, that's too early.
AlphaZero doesn't have any rules. It learns through experience.
Really didn't think there was room for this huge attacking style, never in my wildest dreams.
There's even more depth than we thought in chess.
It's like discovering the secret notebooks of some great player from the past.
It explains AlphaZero's strategies.
How does AlphaZero think? AlphaZero blows apart what traditional engines are doing.
Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. Hello Mark, Happy New Year. Good to see you. First person there for the first stream of the new year. We are looking today.
Start as you mean to go on.
Indeed. We're looking today at a variety of events. First of all, this time we're going to be looking at the closing rounds of the Rapid final. Then this afternoon, a little bit later, we've got the championship, and then in the evening we've got the Bullet, which is going to be an interesting challenge for commentating. I think it's going to be a little bit like horse racing somehow, in the final stages. But we're going to see how that's going to go.
We like the challenge, and it'll be a little bit experimental. So we will.
Yeah, we're going to see how that's all going to go. But for now, we've got the Rapid, so that should be pretty easy. So, what are the standings so far, Natasha? We're diving into the middle of the tournament.
So far, yes. So round 4 has just finished, and I think the draw for round 5, which starts at 2 o'clock, is not yet up. So in round 4. We saw on board 1, Tamnay Chopra against Peter Large, which was a win for white. So Tamnay Chopra is now half a point clear of the field on 3.5. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players on 3, and they are International Master Peter Large, Grandmaster Matthew Turner, FIDE Master Yichen Han, FIDE Master Harry Grieve, and CM, that's Candidate Master?
I think so, yeah.
Aravamundan Balaji, who we have seen before as UK Chess Bomber. And then just closely following them, we have Gregor Toshek and Richard Pert. And we'll also be following Ezra Kirk and other people in the field. Also young junior player, Dennis Dupuy. We'll check in on his games. Okay, and so all the action is starting in 4 minutes. So as soon as we get the draw, we will let you know who is playing who. But it's going to be on top board. It will be Tamnay Chopra. Who has he played already? So he's got 3.5 out of 4.
Yeah, he's already drawn with Matthew Turner and beaten Peter Large, and actually beaten Richard Pert as well. He's had a great, having an incredible run. So yes. I reckon, I don't know actually. It's
so he's definitely drew a. Wait a minute. He's definitely drew black. We're predicting the pairing is always a bit of an art. So depends what.
Confused. He'll play Yichen Han, Harry Grieve, or UK Chess Bomber. I think that'll be the way, because he's already played Peter Large and Matthew Turner already. So so that's quite a shock at the top there. Interesting to see Peter Large playing. So a player from who I knew from my youth, just playing in the George Goodwin hybrid quick plays back in the mid 1980s, and then he sort of disappeared a bit. But I've seen just in a few places been quite active.
I think he went on with normal life and was working with his career. So perhaps that's why we didn't see so much of him in the chess scene. But it's lovely to see him back playing.
No, it's good. It's good seeing people returning to chess, you know, and I don't know whether he's been playing any over the board. Yes, of course, Trifon Gabriel, of course. Yeah, he's a CM as well. That's right. It's
yes.
I think Candidate Master is what it is. I mean,
it could be Counting Master. I'm going to look it up. Candidate Master sounds better, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a FIDE title. There's also National Master, but they had that in America, I think, and they had something like
it is Candidate Master. Yeah, awarded by International Chess is awarded by FIDE. Absolutely.
And in Russia, they always had first category master or second category master, and that was kind of awesomely strong, even though it didn't sound that scary. So no. So okay, we're just.
So Matthew, how many candidate masters do you think there are in the world?
Oh, good Lord! Is this a well
quiz for you?
I mean, in general, you'd normally assume that the lower the title, in a way, the more people there would be. But I don't think many people know about this. So I would say maybe about 10,000.
Only there's about 10. There's 8,100 FIDE masters. There's only 1,700 candidate masters.
Oh my goodness! That's
yes. So actually, we're in for a treat seeing a candidate master in action today. So that's about as similar as the number of grandmasters.
Indeed, yeah, it's quite an exclusive club. Yeah, it's I'm not quite sure how you become a candidate master. Actually, how you
I could probably tell you that as well. I'm on Wikipedia actually.
It's because FIDE Master, there's no norms for FIDE Master, so I think they just it's all based on rating. I think 2,300 over about 20 or 30 games. So I guess Candidate Master 100, 2,000.
2,200. No, 2,200. Achieving an elo of 2,200 or more. For players rated over 2,000 but under 2,200, there are many other ways to gain the title. For example, by scoring 50% over 7 or more games at an Olympiad. Candidate Master ranks below other open FIDE titles, introduced in 2002. Wow. So it's actually been going for 18 years. There you go.
Yeah. It's a lot of these things get done, but don't really get given much publicity. So that's very good. Good to know that.
Yeah. You asked Ramirez if there are more. What?
It's
I wouldn't like to say.
Yeah. So no, that's okay. That's interesting to know. That's a good one. Are there any other titles, by the way? Whilst you're
well, there's a woman's one as well. There's a woman candidate master.
Okay.
Of whom? Oh, arena titles. Wait a minute. Arena titles can be earned online using FIDE server. Arena Grandmaster, etc. There you go. And then there's arbiter titles, but that seems to be all the ones there are.
Okay. Well, fair enough.
Now I guess the games have actually started, so we could.
No, not yet. Club Master for British. Oh, it could be Club Master. Club Master sounds quite good, actually.
Yeah.
Just imagine being introduced, so you come
like Dragon Master.
This is the Club Master. Respect.
Mm-hmm.
It's, no, we're still waiting for the parents.
Oh, fine. Oh, we could talk some more about titles then. Yeah.
It's, still haven't seen them. What time the round?
Did you know this? Titles for correspondence chess and chess problem composition and chess problem solving are no longer administered by FIDE. They've canned them.
Oh, really?
Yes.
My goodness.
Yes, they must.
So I guess the ICCS, the tournament, the correspondence ones, I guess.
Yes.
And then
and must be chess problem ones as well. Because isn't John Mestel? He must be a grandmaster at least the chess problem composition and over the board. And I don't know whether he does correspondence or not. And John Nunn as well.
No, they've never done correspondence, I don't think. I'm trying to think actually whether there are any grandmasters. Yeah, indeed, a Monday spinner day, indeed, Mark. It's
quite possible.
I'm trying to think, how many over the board grandmasters have actually got the grandmaster title in correspondence. Actually, I think a few have got. I think Twan. I know the Dutch grandmaster Twan Berg. He's about 2,500, a bit more in over the board chess. He is actually correspondence IM. He's a multi-talented guy actually, because he's a
shogi guy.
He's a strong shogi player as well. So and I think he's also a decent Chinese chess player as well. And he's really done all sorts of things like that. I think it's a really nice thing to do. And Ulf Andersson played a lot of correspondence chess and got extremely strong at it. But I don't know whether he actually got any titles at it. And I don't know of any other grandmasters who've played a huge amount of correspondence chess.
Over the board players who also play correspondence chess. So it is giving international masters, world correspondence champion Hans Berliner, grandmasters who were world correspondence champion were Ukeli de Galway and Ragozin.
Okay.
Oh, Ragozin, who did the Ragozin opening, presumably. And then international masters who've been the world champion are Hans Berliner, Jakub Estrin, Colin Purdy, Mikhail Omansky, and Eva Byrne. And then there's a whole lot of over the board grandmaster, correspondence grandmaster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, including Johnny Hector, Jonathan Penrose.
Johnny Hector
recently got the award. What did he get? The Nobel Prize.
Nobel Prize. Yeah.
Ulf Andersson, Igor Bondarevsky, Kurt Hansen, Avivas Gipslis, Yanis Klovans, Olisa Rauser, Lothar Schmidt, and Duncan Suttles.
Good Lord.
Yes, and a whole load of international masters as well. I won't go through them all right now because I guess the games really will be starting very soon.
It's how interesting.
It doesn't mention, it doesn't. You're absolutely right. It doesn't mention Mestel or Nunn, so they must not be into that stuff. Yeah,
no, it's quite interesting actually. It's a few of these because I was thinking more about recent grandmasters, but a few of these guys I've actually even played against or know quite well. The system. I'm a bit annoyed with myself actually about the system, because when I first reviewed it, I was really I really didn't like it at all. But actually, when we actually did the book on AlphaZero, and got speaking to computer guys and computer guys working in chess, suddenly the system made a lot more sense. Actually, you could really see that. I could really understand the direction from where he was coming. Whereas when I reviewed it all those years ago, 20 years ago, now I wasn't even into IT, I think, at the time. So it was Carl.
It's an acquired taste, computer chess. You get to know it, and then you like it more and more.
Indeed, Carl Stevens. Indeed, we are the game changers, Carl. So it's but that's great. Happy New Year, Petsa. Looper, Happy New Year as well.
Is Looper Loz Cooper, or is that somebody else?
I'm not sure. No, I don't think
so.
No. There we are. We've been paired. We've got the pairings. Round 5 out of 7. Oh, it's going to be Yichin Han, young Dutch player, against Tanmay Chopra.
They're both young players, actually. Yeah. So Yichin 2007 and Tanmay, I think 2004 or 5. Yeah.
Right. Let's. We're going to see whether we can get a few of these games going. There we are. Wow. Can tell the young players. I'm just going to get the. Get a few of the boards up, and then I will share my screen and we can go. So Just get Matthew Turner up there as well. Get Harry Grieve. People would sing Harry. Always a good fun player, Harry. I think we've had a great time watching his games. Another young player, of course. Welsh Tiger.
Yeah.
That's Gregor Toshek. And okay, well, I think I'm doing quite okay there. So let me just share my screen and let's dive into it. Chess.com. Here we go. Share. We'll make ourselves tiny. I'll take off the names. Buck. And there we are. And we are looking at board 1. Professor Chess. That's Yichin Han against Fisher Fan.
Oh, wow.
Tanmay Chopra. And, well, of course, we had a London system. What else would you get nowadays? Thanks to Simon.
Junior players.
And
that used to be an old man's game, London system.
Indeed. It was what you played when you didn't want to know any theory. But nowadays, I mean, it's just, it's just exploded again. It's a bit like the Bishop B5 Czech Sicilian back in the day. It was meant to be a theory avoiding thing, and now there's just just massive theory. So this is quite typical. Actually, White hasn't done too badly here, getting in E5. So despite not really going for the centre in a big way, White's got this E4 to E5 in, but Black's doing quite well. Oh, this is a clever move. That's a very clever spot, hitting C5 and threatening F4 to F5. So that is going to
Oh, that threatens to trap the bishop as well.
Indeed.
A nice move by White.
Let me just I'm just going to get my my commands for chess.com.
Black could go C4 to gain a tempo on the bishop before defending.
You certainly
But
could.
then the queen's hitting A7.
Indeed, it's quite a long diagonal, that one. I mean, I was looking. I mean, D4 was one thing I was looking at there. The idea would be something like F5, and then I take on C3. So I'm hitting the bishop on D3, and if F takes C6, you've got to be a bit careful because Queen D3, I'd go E7, and that would work.
Yes.
But actually, after F takes C6, I think I can just go F takes C6. And I'm hitting the queen, and of course I'm hitting the bishop as well. So we've got something like bishop h7. I go king h7, queen check, king g8, maybe b takes c3. But I don't think Black's doing badly at all in this position. It looks quite look quite good there. So d4 might be an idea there. I don't know whether after f5, d takes c3, whether we can do something a little bit more tricky, because we could do something like, for example, rook d1. These positions get
I agree.
quite,
It does look like a king's gambit in terms of pawn structure. But a Facebook comment.
oh, fantastic. Oh, Facebook, fantastic.
I've got to try and work out how to reply on the Facebook as well. I'm going to work that out.
You can do that from our screen, actually, from the Restream screen.
Just from here. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, and you've got at the bottom under the chat, you've got a little arrow, and you can choose whether you reply on YouTube or Game Changer, or Facebook rather.
Okay, let me see.
So rook d1 is quite interesting. I was actually wondering a little bit about an outrageous move like bishop f5, with the idea of bishop f5, queen d1 here, which might actually be quite interesting. Actually, it might actually just work. But I mean, I could take with a queen on f5, but then I was sort of wondering whether I could do something like takes, and go c takes b2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3 pawns. I was kind of wondering whether that might actually be quite interesting. I mean, I might be able to do something else. Maybe play the bishop there. It's just that f6 is quite dangerous. Let's have a look. What has happened here? I think Black played c4, didn't he? Black did it slightly differently. Black played c4, bishop c2, and d4. Now white took on d4 there. Didn't play f5. I think. Oops, sorry. And white declined a draw there actually as well. So fighting stuff. So I think if f5, I think d3 was going to happen. Takes. I think the same trick was planned, and you regain the piece there. So white took on d4. Queen takes d4 and has gone rook d1. Yeah, takes, and bishop g4, rook d8, and I guess king e3. Yeah, king e3 has been played. Well, this is a decent ending. I mean, white must be a little bit better. I mean, the king's active, and probably. Well, I mean, your kingside majority is expandable, and this pawn's a little bit exposed, so you might get some chances to restrict it. I mean, I think a4 would be quite a decent idea here, just to try and restrict the king, and then we're going to go bishop e4 and go rook c1. I mean, black can play bishop e6 to turn the pawn. Oh, okay, h3 g4 is another idea here that we can do as well. So actually, come to think of it, I think that's probably better to do this one straight away before black gets the chance to play h5. So I think g4 is the sort of logical follow-up. Yeah, I mean, these sort of endings, they're always interesting. I mean, oh, okay, rook d1. Oh, that's not bad either. I mean, this king is very active. So yeah, offer to swap off the rooks, and if they do, then the king gets in. Yeah, this is actually very good.
That's reasonable winning chances. It sort of looks drawish, but as you say, the king's much closer. So
yeah, I mean, I think if anyone's got winning chances, it's definitely white. I think here.
Yeah.
So
and then the black rook sidestepped.
Yeah.
So white's gained.
And now you go g4. I was actually wondering about, funnily enough, whether this was at all possible. I mean, you could have taken on d1 and gone c3 in this position. If bc3, I go bishop takes a2, of course. And if you go b3, I go bishop f5. And I'm actually threatening c2 here. It's a bit hard for the white king to get round to the pawn, funnily enough. So I was sort of wondering, bishop f3, maybe I go b6 or something.
Yeah. And
I don't know. I mean, I've got a nice square on here basically for the bishop, and the king's going to find it very hard to attack the pawn. So yeah, I was wondering whether this was possible. Because this one, white's gone g4. Yeah, I mean, black's got a bit of a challenge here. What are you going to do with this bishop, actually? So, in c3 now, I already do go b3. So, interesting. Let's have a look. We've got Peter Large against Matthew Turner here on board 2. So Matthew Turner drew. I think he's drawn a couple of games, Matthew Turner. Peter Large, of course, lost to Tanmay Chopra in the last round.
Yeah.
This is... what is this? Well, we've got this. In principle, white's got his knights quite nicely placed here. Looking at d5 and f5. Black's got his play along the b file. White's got this pawn on c7 that he's eyeing, but black's got this pawn on b2. Yeah, I mean, I suppose. Yeah, the problem with rook d2 protects b2, but obviously there's this one, which is a bit annoying. And rook e2, there's a knight f4. But I think that rook e2 does feel like the most natural here. I mean, rook e2, if you go knight f4, I just go rook d2, and I'm quite solid here, and my knights can come into here, and this knight is, keeping my other knights safe as well. So. That is possible. Maybe black goes g6 then, just tries to keep at f5 and try and keep this knight active here. Got to watch out for stuff like g3, because knight h3, king g2, knight g5, I've got stuff like f4. It's all very loose here, but it might all be working. But it's a tricky one. Okay, white decides. I mean, I was trying to keep the pawn on b2 just to keep all of black's weaknesses. The pawn on a4 as well. b3 is much more solid move. So,
so which black to take or push on to a3? I might be inclined.
I would probably take. I think
6 at the end.
I would probably take no. Well, knight c6. You've got a knight on e5 there, so I would probably take and give white the decision. I mean, if you go a-b, then c5 becomes more possible just to to loosen this. I mean, the pawn's defended by a knight on d4. If you go knight b3, then okay, ab. Yeah, knight b3 would leave a pawn on a2, which you could line up on. Ab, this one's a little bit trickier to defend now. I think we'd really want to, but white is threatening now to take on c7, so we're going to have to find something with black. c5, we go knight f5, and queen b3, knight takes d6. Yeah, that's sort of looking a little bit even, I think. I'm sure Matthew knight f4, not surprised at all.
For the win, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, Matthew will be going.
Answers.
Matthew will be going for something here. So, interesting question now. I mean, if you go queen c7 here, then we're going to put in a knight probably on d3, and we're going to hope that that this is leading somewhere. I mean, it's not at all clear because we've got knight c6 as well as a counter for white. So it's quite unclear. But I mean, this is really a question of putting pressure on white. Let's have a little look, see whether we can work something out there. Queen takes c7. I'm not quite sure which knight. If we put this knight on d3, if you go knight c6, I do always have this move queen c3 to pin you, or maybe even better actually, queen c5. So I'm pinning you on here, and I'm also attacking a rook here. It's not completely clear, but rook there. Well, maybe I go rook c8 then, or something like that. And so I think that's probably the tricky part. The idea. I mean, I could go knight c2, to get one of my knights safe. But I don't know. White's position. I can understand going for this as black, even if you don't get the pawn back. There's White's position is starting to get a bit disrupted. So I wouldn't imagine that Peter would do that. I mean, one very tempting idea maybe is to go, well, g3 not so tempting anymore. You won't take on, king f1.
He's probably trying to play g3, is he?
Yeah, but the thing about g3 is that, thing about g3 is that the knight can always go back to e6, and you remove this knight on d4, and then f3 becomes weak. So this is so vulnerable tactically. I mean, there's going to be a queen a b5 or queen a6. I mean, you don't know how it's wrong, but you just sort of say, yeah, this is pleasant. I mean, g6 would be my natural feeling here with black. Just stop a knight coming in for f5, which really gives me a possible c5 here. That would be my my first reaction. Now, I don't know whether there's anything whether Matthew's trying to tee up with something more even more exciting, because I mean, there is stuff like c5. When the knight moves to f5, then we've got a queen b5 check. I mean, c5, knight f5. We do have little checks like this.
Yeah.
You go back here, so maybe there's nothing amazing yet, but that's why I quite like the look of g6. We can this f6 square, but still, and just try and do that. I mean, g3 is possible here after g6, and if knight e6, I guess we have a move like knight d5, hitting here and here. But I do have knight d4, and then I've always got a queen b5 with check to get out of stuff. So, yeah, not sure. Just seen that.
Interestingly, for Matthew Turner, he's had 2 draws already. So one was with Tamne Chopra, and the other was with Harry Grieve. Now Matthew Turner and Harry Grieve are both playing a lot of chess today. So they're playing these 2 sessions of rapid play, but then they also play against each other on board 2 of the championship tonight. So they'll be so they had this rapid game this morning as a warm-up, which they drew, and then they play again this evening.
Just seen that Richard Pert as black has beaten Gregor Toshek there.
Yes.
Very nice idea there with queen h1 check. And then we've got Harry Grieve against UK chess bomber. This is we've got a very weak e6 square here. and Harry Grieve has gone for that. I think he was probably he spent a little bit of time looking at it because there's there can be some counters on d3 here, but so I guess rook f6 is incredibly natural. But then maybe we're going to take on c7. I think that's going to be the idea. If you go to f7, if you go to f6, I'll take on c7, and if knight d3, knight d5, maybe rook f2, maybe rook f2, king there, bishop c5 is a bit too scary. So rook f6. What are we going to do here? We could go, because knight d3 is a little bit annoying. We could go e takes d5, but still knight d3. I suppose I could. I mean, no, that's not too nice. What is Harry Grieve doing there? And black is thinking a lot. Rook f6. Is there something clever which I'm missing? I would hope there would be, to be honest. Rook f6, e takes d5, knight d3, knight e4 from Harry Grieve. That was the one. Rook f5, attacking the pawn. So I guess we're going to go. Well, I mean, Harry can decide to up the ante a bit with something like knight d4, just rook d1. So I think we're going to take this, aren't we? Now, I can't really think of anything else for black, but this is looking then like there's going to be a couple of extra pawns for white. So well calculated, Harry. Takes, rook d5 afterwards. So that's looking pretty good. Let's have a look quickly at the board one. Oh, well.
There's an extra bishop there for white.
There's an extra bishop. Two pawns for black.
For the bishop.
2 pawns for black.
3 could be a threat.
King d4. So I guess bishop f5 would be the normal move for white here. Okay, king e2, also very reasonable. b3. Yeah, I wonder whether b3 would have been cleverer, actually. I think it would have been cleverer to go b3. I think we could have done. We could have played. What I wanted to do, actually, does it work? I wanted to play b3. So obviously a3. You know, I go c3. And if you go, if you go ab, I wanted to go c3. And just get at this pawn like this, because you know, if you go bishop a4, well, probably that's just winning as well, actually. So I think it's all. I think it's all good, actually. Hey, Kevin, how are you, Kevin?
Oh, how was the operation?
Yeah, I hope you're recovering, Kevin. And great to see you on the show. Plimsoll. Oh, what has happened here? Well, we missed a general liquidation here.
So is Peter Larch.
Rook takes e4, so it's looking like a draw at the moment. What have we got here? I mean, Peter Larch has got more time, so he's not in any time pressure at all. Hard to see really what black can do if white doesn't make any blunders here. I think that the key thing white would really want to do is to go queen d5. I mean, that's where the main threat could be, something like this happening. So you'd normally say that rook d1 would be the move that you want to play, just to make sure you've got queen d5. And I don't know, I don't really know what black can do about it. I mean, there are possibilities, like you could give it a go. Actually, and take on. I suppose that would be the. Oh, he's gone rookie. No, he hasn't done it yet. But you could give it a go and take here and go queen c2, just for confusion's sake. It's a little bit risky, but yeah, I mean, you probably do something like king f1 or something, and you're going to have checks against the black king. It's probably white can make a draw, but it's not quite not particularly what you're really looking for there. But white's spending quite a bit of time here, probably a little bit nervous, trying to find the you know, the clear way to draw, but getting a little bit nervous about sacks like that. I said I really think it's important to have the move queen d5, so I think rook d1 would really be the best move, unless, or is he looking for something else brilliant? I'm trying to think of something incredible that you might have, but I think I can't imagine. I mean, you've got too many too many pieces hanging everywhere.
Here
Oh,
we
look
go.
at this.
More Arav Mudin Balaji is candidate master from England. His standard play rating is 2206, and he was born in 2005.
Rookie one.
So
Rookie
very
one is-
junior player.
So Rookie one has been played there.
Best format, but I think we should give him his proper name. Arav
Rook
Mudin.
takes e3. Rook takes e3. Matthew's doing it.
Oh, he's done it. Fantastic.
Indeed. I thought he would. So now I'm wondering, how is Matthew intending? Queen c2, I would say. Oh, queen takes c3 simply. Okay. Interesting. I would say now that queen d8 check, king g7, queen d4 would be the natural move, just to pin the king. Yeah, that's what you always do. Queen d4. Yeah, we'll go queen e2 check. Probably we'll go back to h1 afterwards. And then, yeah, slight problem for queen f3, he's gone. Okay, king h2. Yeah, you can always throw in a queen e2.
Yeah.
We'll come back to h1. And now I think f6 from black will probably be the way to do it. Yeah, and then I would think rook a7 from rook d2. Ooh. Oh, queen f1. Queen f1 wins.
Okay. Okay.
Queen f1 wins. Yeah, blunder.
On time, Peter.
Yeah, total blunder. Takes, knight f3 check. End of story. Ah, dear, indeed. Yeah, I think rook a1 would be my impression. I would think that this would work, because if you do something like knight f3, you know, I've got all the room in the world to give you some checks here, you know, and this is always going to work. So, but well gambled, Matthew Turner. That was absolutely the right gamble, and yeah, and did it very well. So excellent. And then indeed, white has won. So Yichen Han beats Tanmay Chopra. So what have we got?
Very good. Yes. So that was the sort of King's Gambit looking London system on board one that we were following.
So okay, that's round 5. So we're going to have and then Harry Grieve won as well. So we've got Yichen Han on 4, Matthew Turner on 4, and Harry Grieve on 4 now. And then on 3.5, we're going to have Richard Pert, Tanmay Chopra, and that's it, I think, actually. Yeah, Richard Pert and Tanmay Chopra. So exciting stuff. I think Yichen Han, I think he's a young Dutch player, but I think maybe somebody in the chat can correct me. I think he's living in the UK at the moment.
Yeah, I heard he was going to school in the UK.
Okay, that's right. Yeah,
England, but I don't remember exactly.
That's what I seem to remember as well. Yeah. So it's and I think, I'm not sure his FIDE rating. I think his FIDE rating was quite high, if I seem to remember. Let me just have a quick look. Yichen Han FIDE. He is a FIDE master. He's 2307. That's right. So his rating on he's 2409 actually on this site now. So yeah, he's got a pretty serious rating there.
The games don't start for another 15 minutes, so we could look at that game actually, just how that all went. That game on board one between.
Oh, okay. So let's have a look. So this is where we left it with Rook c8. Actually, it wasn't that exciting for very long because after g4, Black, wasn't really sure how to stop this this pawn advancing to f5, and indeed that is a bit of a conundrum, I have to say. So Black went for Rook c5, and White went f5, takes, and then gave away the piece.
Ah, okay. Yes.
Check. King f4, rook e2, rook b1. It's a decent practical decision, this one. b5, bishop e4. But the slight problem here is that, well, if white gets the rook to g2, for example, then that'll be just extract this rook from the 7th rank, then you should be doing quite well. There's quite a few weak pawns to attack there. So black went rook h2, attacking rook d2, king f3, rook h2, bishop f5, king g7, bishop d7, and now this happened, and rook g2.
Black come out via f8 instead of g7 to avoid that check.
Yeah, could have done. That would have been a decent idea as well. But black went rooks off. Probably would have been better, I think, to keep the rooks on. But it's a tough one, really. I mean, in principle, this is actually losing. In the end, this ending was not too difficult for white to hold, really, because you can easily hold this the a pawn. You hold the a pawn very easily with a bishop, and meanwhile your king is going to be moving up to the kingside pawns, and that is indeed what happened. So king there, a4. You do win the bishop, but yeah, you don't get back in time for the rook's pawn.
Yeah.
So white won that quite convincingly there.
Okay. The other game we could check is we didn't see Ezra Kirk, I think, against Adam Collins.
Okay, I'll have to search for him.
He is. Let me see.
He's GP Louis.
Yeah.
So up. Okay, let's have a long game. Let's have a look. So that was Ezra Kirk IM against Adam Collins. So that was a b3 opening, and black went knight f6. d5 is the most aggressive here, but yeah, I mean, lots of interesting lines. One of the weirdest ones that I saw recently. This was played in computer chess by Leela Zero, was this move knight e7. The idea being that after bishop e5, it looks like a blunder, giving away a pawn. You go a6 takes,
yeah,
and bishop b2. I think they were going queen g5, attacking g2,
okay, nice.
And bishop g3. We were getting, I think it was d4 they were playing, and yeah, interesting compensation for black there, but anyway, knight f6 was the more normal line here. Knight f3, and here black again played quite restrained fashion. e4 is probably a bit more normal. Bishop d6 has been a very common line as well. At various times, more against bishop b5 in actual fact, come to think of it, than against knight f3. But black played d6 here. Bishop b5, bishop d7, d4, and yeah, I mean, black could think about playing e4 here. That's possible, but black just took on d4. So I mean, black playing quite conservatively here. Takes, queen takes d4, but this is not at all bad for white. Actually, it's quite a nice position, and you could play it a bit positionally. You could play follow up with c4 and knight c3 when it starts to look like an English opening. But I do believe this is known, that white, you play this in a bit of a caveman way, and you're going to be playing g4 and g5. So queen f5, king b1. C5 and queen d2. So a6, F3, and in we go. E4, Queen E6, G4, and suddenly it looks well. It looks a little bit more like a sort of Antoshin Lopez or something like that. It's yeah. Suddenly you've got a pawn storm. Switch attention to TCC again. Maybe. It's certainly do a lot on Twitter for the TCC, but well, I haven't been doing very much of that recently either. But might do a bit more on the TCC. You never know. It's yeah. This has taken up quite a bit of time somehow. So it's also I don't know about you, Mark, but the TCC tournaments have they've been. Well, they've changed the openings quite a bit. So there's a huge number of wins and losses, and I'm actually not so keen on this. Actually, well, the thing is, it was there were these openings that have been picked specifically to be quite bad for black mainly, and I'm yeah. I don't know. I'm not quite enjoying it as much. I quite enjoyed the games where one engine sort of ground out a little bit and made something of a nice edge. Whereas here, I mean, you give Stockfish +1 in some random position, and it's more often than not it's going to win, and it's even going to lose some games. And it's just I sort of find the surprise has gone really. I didn't mind the draws too much. I'm glad you agree, Mark, because everyone in the TCC chat seems to be really happy about it. That there's loads and loads of wins, but I actually enjoyed the draws a lot more. I actually feel there's been a lot fewer lovely games to watch. Really quality classy games. I think I saw 3 or something, and whereas before, I mean, really it's been most of the wins, when they happened before were absolutely great, I thought. Exactly.
Yeah, and I guess different engines will do better on the where you have a lot that win rather than a lot that draw, because you're the ones that can kind of what do you call it, bunny bash. Not that any of them are bunnies, but that will favour a certain type of engine.
Yeah, although actually, in general terms, the results, the standings as they are, have been the same. So it's Stockfish Lila 0 at the top, and then with Komodo Draw is one of my. It's an excellent book, isn't it, by William Heidenfeld? You're absolutely right, Mark. I love that book too. It is fantastic. There's some really lovely stuff in there. It's yeah, I don't know. I'm less enthused by the TCC the Division P anyway. I'm hoping that the super final will be the normal stuff, that they don't go over the top for that as well. But yeah, just this is somehow I lost a little bit of enthusiasm for it. So. It's still I think there've been 2 or 3 really good games, I think, but apart from that, it's sort of been. I think it's I run a lot of engine games at home, and I see a lot of stuff like this really already. You see that with a clear advantage that they're incredibly good at winning. So you're playing the Bullet, are you, Peter? Yeah, that's good. Lots of people play the Bullet.
I'm just going to bait him. I'm saying he's withdrawn the Rapid cheekily, but we're streaming all 3, but we didn't do the first half of the Rapid, so we thought 4 sessions in a day we'd be. I mean, actually, it's quite tiring. Even after 2 sessions, I sleep well that evening.
Let's have a look. They haven't started yet, have they? So let's carry on with.
What might be interesting is round 1, Harry Grieve against Matthew Turner. I thought that might be nice prep for tonight, because they actually played same colours. So Harry Grieve was white this morning. I know it's a draw, but he was white against Matthew Turner in round 1, and then he's going to be white again this evening. So it might be nice to just see what openings they did and how it went, in case they do a repeat or see who varies. Get the psychology of the match tonight. I imagine they would vary. It's tiring just following. That's hilarious, Mark. I tell you what, I sometimes watch chess videos, and if I do, I only need to have it on for about 20 minutes, and something kind of turns my brain. It's very good for sleeping. I told one person, whose videos was it? I told the person that it just sent me to sleep. It wasn't meant to be rude. It was just.
I can't seem to find. I can't seem to find them. So.
Matty T.
Yeah, no. Well, I've got I am Matt64. I've got.
Yes.
But I can't seem to find anyone at the moment. So I think we'll just have to pass on that one.
Yes, I think it's starting soon anyway. It should be a couple of minutes.
It's not giving me anything at all, very strangely. So so there we are. That's anyway.
That's the championship name. Let's get back onto the rapid. Championship rapid play round 6 out of 10.
Yeah, we've got the pairings already. So let's
board one. Yichin Han and Richard Pert, Harry Grieve. Got some good lineups there. Victor Stoyanov, Tanay Chopra, and Aravamudam Balaji against Peter Large.
Trying a few. Probably going to start in a couple of minutes' time, I think.
Oh, and Peter Finn against Chris Finn. Peter, you're playing. I've got a theory. I've got a theory here about Peter's sudden withdrawal. He wanted to avoid playing his brother. Because Chris Finn against Peter Finn is the scheduled pairing for board 10.
Still waiting. It's let's have a look. What else we got? We got Denis Dupuis.
We could check in on Demis Dupuis against Tomo Gorman as well.
Yeah, but they haven't. Nobody started yet, so we just got to wait a little bit.
Yeah.
So okay.
Round 6 of 7. So just one more round after this.
Moonmaker.
3 people on 4. So Matty T, Yichin Han, and Harry Grieve on 4, and then Richard Pert and Tanay Chopra on 3.5. No, I don't see any other Perts in this tournament because we've been following a lot last week. Nina Pert, when she had her excellent performance actually in the women's event, Standard Play, where she came clear second. So you'll remember Grandmaster Ketty Grant won the tournament, and then young Nina Pert finished second.
They started.
Okay.
So Matty Turner against Yichin Han. So D4 opening. We've got anti-drome on board 2. That's Richard Pert. Let me just try and get that one up. There we are as well. Against Harry Grieve. That should be a good little matchup. We've got Victor Stoyanov against Tanmay Chopra. Victor Stoyanov's got a great Victor the Cool Boy. That is his username, which is pretty good. And then we've got Plimsoll as well. Peter Large.
Name a lot, but I don't know if I know him.
I don't think I've played him, no. So let's have a look. So this is a Slav, a slow Slav with E3, Bishop G4, and they're often playing H3 nowadays. But Matty Turner going for an old-fashioned line that was a favourite of Mark Hebden actually. So it'd be interesting to see whether Yichin knows this one actually, because this is not something a young player might know. It's really a very old theory.
Does he know his old theory? That's a clever move then for Matthew to try that line.
Yeah, I think that's a good because if you don't know it, it's actually quite awkward.
I think he's a very young player. 2003 he was born. When I say very young, under 18 anyway.
So I think that Queen C7 is quite should be okay for black. If you want to go a bit extreme, you could go bishop c8, which has been played before. Queen c7 indeed. So knight c3. I think
Queen c1.
indeed. Queen c1 mate is the aim. So queen c1 here. So yeah, a natural move for white would be knight e5, but queen c1 would rather sort of do that one in. So knight c3 is possible. You could also try the move bishop d2 when you're aiming to go knight a3 and rook c1, which is quite interesting. But okay, knight c3. Bishop takes. Yeah, you often do this when the queen's gone to b3. The queen's got out of this pin basically. So oops, this pin. So the knight would be ready. The white knight on f3 here is ready to go to e5 because there's no pin on the queen on d1. So taking is quite normal. Bishop d2 and knight c6. So black also takes advantage of the fact that white's gone c takes d5 very early. Black's gone c takes d5. You can get the knight to c6. And now white's got a few different possibilities. Rook c1 is obvious. Castles, I believe, is even possible. And I think I've even seen bishop b5 as well. But rook c1 kind of seems like the most natural thing to do there. Rook g1, you can throw this one in. I guess black will go g6 simply to defend the g7 pawn, and then the bishop can develop later either to e7 or to g7. Does mean that the h2 pawn is en prise, but of course b7 is hanging at the moment, so there's not there's not a great deal. I mean, black's thinking here. I'm wondering whether black's thinking about going queen side or something like that. Wouldn't really recommend it. This queen side is quite weak, really. So even though white has an open file on this diagonal, I'd rather castle king side and keep these files for me, because after rook g1 it's pretty clear that that white's going to be castling queen side, if at all. So
could you like put your bishop in on d3, say, and then tuck your king on e2? Would it be safe there?
Yeah, I'm not sure, because there's this e5 move all the time, even as a pawn sacrifice. You could just clear the center, then your king would be caught there. It's a little bit. I mean, even on the queen side, the king's a little bit vulnerable. Get some knight a5 c4s, some b5 b4s, but at least you can try and tuck the king away on b1 and go, and maybe go castles. Queen side, play king b1, and then afterwards play the rook to c1. That would be possible, but yeah, a little bit in a way not a little bit odd from Matty, because you go rook g1. I mean, g6 is more or less the obvious move, and now he's thinking again here. So I get the feeling
queen h2 a threat.
Whoa, e4. No, queen h2. Queen h2. We said that b7 was hanging there. So so that's not a threat for the moment.
Knight d4 looks like it could be. Oh no,
well, we've got queen a4 check. You go back to c6, and then afterwards we're hoping that we've got something exciting, like difficult to say really. I mean, even bishop b5 check is also maybe vaguely possible, but anyway, queen a4 is.
Once you've done that, then maybe h2 is en prise.
Well, maybe. Let me just get my command to bring up an analysis board. So queen a4 check. So knight d4, queen a4 check, knight c6. Yeah, what have we got? We've got bishop f4. That's an idea. Maybe knight b5 could be an idea as well. Bishop g5. I'm not sure how convincing this is really, in general.
For white, you mean?
For white, yeah. I'm not quite sure what Matty's idea is. I suppose bishop f4 is vaguely reasonable. We can just go queen b6 here. Yeah, I'm not sure. Bishop b5, knight b5. We've got all these bishop b4 checks and castles. White isn't fantastically developed here, so a little bit intrigued. Yeah, black has taken on d4. I'm not surprised. It does not look clear. So I mean, bishop b5 is another possibility. But I was rather thinking that the black would then go knight d7. Because the idea of bishop b5 is if you go knight b5, I can go knight b5, and maybe I'll get some, some play around this square. Maybe I'll get that a little bit quickly. But I think that maybe after bishop b5 check, you just go knight d7, and you just leave white with this problem here, and I don't actually see how. I don't think it doesn't look enough really. I don't think you can sacrifice lots of stuff. So, oh, whoa! But Matty's done something completely different.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's a very interesting idea. That one. Okay.
This is still part of his prep, presumably.
I'm not sure. It might just be over the board inspiration. This, and it's not bad at all. How are we going to do this? I mean, we're just trying to get rid of this knight on d4. So there is a knight c2 check, but you could just simply go king d1. You just simply go, knight c2 check, king d1, and yeah, you've still got this threat here. And yeah, knight a1 attacks the queen, but knight c7 is check, so that's not working at all.
Knight f3.
Sorry?
Knight f3. Oh, sorry. No, you can't do that.
So knight f3, yeah, I'll just take that. So knight b5 looks like the most natural, but now we get quite a nice attack here. Knight d7. We've got bishop c3. We've got rook c1 first, maybe. This is extremely dangerous. Wow, Matty Turner, what a move. Knight b5.
I wonder if that's naughty.
So, okay, he's taken on b3 there. Knight c7, king d7, a b3, king c7. But this should be very dangerous, feels like. We can go bishop f4 check here. Bishop d6 is going to be e5. So maybe, where are you going to go? Are you maybe going to go to b6? Maybe this is...
b0. Walking the king on d1.
Indeed, I was actually wondering whether maybe this would have been cleverer to do. Oops, good lord! Keep on. So whether knight a8 would be better. You take on there. I'd give a check here. I mean, black's king is quite awkward. King there, and then I want to do a bishop f4 or something.
Oh, trying to stop you getting.
I don't know. This is not trivial. I don't think. It looked quite interesting. I mean, if knight c2, I go to d2, and then I get my rook into c1. I don't know. Might also have been interesting, but yeah. I mean, easier to second guess, of course. Rook c1, king d8, bishop a5 check from Matty Turner, b6. So now these squares are a little bit weakened. I guess Matty Turner's going to go back to c3. And now maybe bishop e7.
Yeah.
That feels natural. Bishop g7, okay. And now we've got to see whether we can... what have we got here? I mean, bishop a6 is quite... natural. I suppose black's main idea is just to go knight h5 here and try and oh, he's taken on d5. Okay, that's fine. Still knight h5 is going to be the idea, but of course this pawn's very weak here. So
black's got two pawns.
Black's a pawn up there.
One pawn, and white's got the bishop pair. We might get that pawn back on d5.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to say anything, you say odds on would be a draw from this position. But yeah, not 100% clear. I mean, bishop here, and taking the pawn does weaken it. Then probably had lots of little ideas like bishop e5, and now you're going to get pinned here. So that's not really. I'm not quite sure. Bishop a6, yeah, it was bishop a6 or bishop b5. But I think bishop a6 is quite good. Yeah, White's got some initiative there, but not as much as I thought actually. Let's have a look. Look at some other games here. We've got Richard Pert against Harry Grieve. Well, Richard Pert played a very early h4 h5 attack, which is normally very, very dangerous indeed, and managed to get Black's king over to f8. Quite scary, but somehow after that, Harry managed to just get his king safe. Queen came to d6, queen to f6, h5 and h4. And in actual fact, Black just seems to beat the exchange up. Now, I think Richard Pert looking to get this rook out here and move it over there. But I mean, this Black Knight's going to come to d7 and f6 eventually. This should be, yeah, a clear advantage for Black here.
Oh, he's done it well. Because I had that opening against David Howell at King's Place one time, and I guess I did the opposite. I just castled queenside, but I got into a bit of a mess. I was like the exchange up because he'd sacked his rook in the opening. But he managed to keep the play going just the whole game. Okay.
It's so this is Victor the Cool Boy against Fisher Fan, so Tanmay Chopra. And this is looking awesomely good for White, I have to say. I mean, a beautiful knight on f4 and Black knight on a6 is quite bad. And we've got, the light squares are awful too, actually. So, I mean, something like rook d7 is the first thing that comes into your mind. It might also be queen e6 check or whatever, but I mean, rook d7 will be quite huge. You could also do queen e6 check, queen e6, queen e4 first of all if you want as well. So yeah, it's looking very, very good indeed. UK chess bomber against Plimsoll. Wow, look at that king.
Yeah.
The white
a little bit exposed.
The White king's a little bit exposed. White was pretty brave to in this position to play castles queenside. That was an incredibly brave move, I have to say. So queen e7, queen f6, queen e4 check. So I guess that wow, this is not going to be an easy one.
Like, how dangerous is it? Could you like go rook d6? Is that too dangerous?
You're definitely going to have to do something like that. And he has done it.
Bishop on f6. So you could just like win.
Yeah, I think we'll probably go king f7. I'm just trying to work out knight h3 here. Because we can give a queen a1 check and then afterwards take. And it's quite yeah, I wasn't expecting bishop e6. I was more expecting a king f7, I have to say. And bishop e6, rook d6. I mean, you could. I mean, yeah. I mean, grabbing this bishop is. I don't think it's going to be anything amazing. You could go knight d8 simply with the idea of then, castling and then grabbing that bishop on a1. I mean, yeah, White can do stuff like queen d4 then, but wow, what a position this.
Knight h3 just to defend that bishop.
So rook d6, yeah. I mean, I'm guessing king f7, and then I'm thinking knight h3 in this position. Let's bring up an analysis board. King f7 and then knight h3. We sort of got the double threat of knight g5 is the biggest one, of course. I was thinking of unpinning somehow, but I'm not sure. Queen c3. We do have, at least we do have a draw here with black, because this would be mate. So we can go king b1, and then I can just go queen b3. I mean, I could go queen a3 as well and try and pick up that pawn. And then it's just a question of, you know, can I do something else? Could I go, I could take on h3 maybe, that's possible. Rook h3 and then do something, maybe even go rook e8. I mean, there are a lot of threats around, but I mean, in general, I would really think this would have to be good for. It's gone king e7. Okay.
Now that bishop's pinned, so you haven't got the same mating threat.
Yeah, no, that's quite a surprise for me, I have to say. King e7. So after knight h3, which white has played, what does black do here? I suppose you have always got this move anyway. Check, check, check here. Because if you go king e1, I go queen check, and if you go king f2, I go queen c5. You know, and I pick up this rook on d6. So probably,
yeah,
king d1, queen b3. I mean, we could go something like queen c2. That's possible. That is kind of possible. And the question is then, yeah.
Move, yeah, queen.
Queen e3, I don't know. Rook d3, queen e5. What a mess! What a total mess! It's really. I don't know whether knight h3 took Peter by surprise there, but he's having a bit of a longer think there. I mean, if we could go something like rook d8, of course, but I mean, you go knight takes f4 then, and well, you know, likelihood is that lots and lots of different things are going to get exchanged there. You could look for, oh, he's gone queen c3 there, so I guess king d1 from white. That seems like the most natural to me, because queen c2 I'll take on a3, so yeah, not 100% clear. So I guess king d1, and then afterwards, oh, I suppose actually after king d1, come to think of it, we could go knight e5. So if king d1, we could go knight e5, blocking this, and threatening bishop b3 with mate, which would be, I think, very unpleasant.
Yeah.
So so maybe actually, whoops, you need to go king to b1, maybe that one's necessary. But then that is actually quite friendly, because we can then we could always grab this pawn.
Yeah.
Is that going to help us? That's the key question. I'm not 100% sure. Well, no, we can do it. No, we can do it actually. Because we can just give checks like this and checks like this. We're back into the same position afterwards. So, yeah, no, I think this is king d1. What did he do? Oh, okay, king d1. White played. Yeah, it didn't play knight e5. In that, sorry, didn't play knight e5 in that position, which I think looks quite strong. I'm not quite sure. I mean, what would it looks like they're going to repeat the position here, but queen knight e5. I could go rook e6, king takes, and knight g5. This sort of thing is possible. Again, a bit crazy. But I mean, I do something like king f6. I'm sure I can, you know, shimmy around and then just get a rook d8 in some way in there. It doesn't seem conceivable to me that wouldn't work. So, oh, good lord! After king d2, rook a8 was played. But this is a very strange way to play for the win, to be honest, because knight f4 takes. And now everything's getting exchanged, and white's a pawn up in the ending. My goodness. So it looks like Tanmay Chopra there has got a very good chance of coming away with a win with this one.
Mudun Balaji, is it?
That's right. So let's have a look. Oh, Harry Grieve really in complete control there. White just hasn't managed to get out there. So this is looking like a win for Harry Grieve of black. That would be a very good win. And then on top boards, a draw by repetition. Okay, so how did that go? That went bishop b4, bishop f8, bishop c3, bishop g7, bishop b4 with a draw by repetition. Okay, I mean, I guess black is half a point ahead in the tournament, of course. Wonder a little bit because rook e8 check could have been thrown in as well. You can't go king d2 because of bishop h6 check, so you'd have to play your king to somewhere a bit silly like f1 or d1. Probably, there's probably enough play for the pawn, but you might have, could have thrown that one in as well. But okay, that's all very interesting. Let's have another look now at. So
board.
Oh
two, Harry.
No! There was a misclick there as well. So rook d5 played by Peter Large instead of rook d4, I think, and he takes d5, ends the game. Hard luck, Peter. That was that happens unfortunately, but So bishop a3, knight takes h3. I'm guessing that we'll probably play a move like rook f5 now. Even rook f3 would be very, very dangerous here. I mean, knight g5, I'm just going to take that knight maybe and take on e2. Oh, he's taken on e2 straight away. Why not? Indeed. Not much time for both players, but I think that I'd expect black to put this away. Maybe come round to e8.
Clearly into the lead going into the last round if he wins this.
Sorry?
That would take Harry into the lead for the tournament. He'd be on 5 and the other two, Turner and Hannah, are on 4.5.
Okay, fantastic. So who would he play actually? Would he play Hitchin or would he play...
Harry, he wouldn't play Matthew Turner because
they've played already. Oh, he plays. So he would play Hitchin for the final honours.
That's who he would play.
So rook takes b2 now is going to be played, I think. Indeed. And I'm afraid it's all gone there. You could try a little rook f7 if you're feeling frisky. King f7, knight g5, but even that would not be very good. King d6. You're happy to give this rook up because we just got rook a2 and queen b2 mate coming up. So queen h6, king c7, queen c1. My goodness, I think rook g2 is going to be the one to finish things off there.
Okay. So in that case, Harry Grieve will be playing Yichin Han, and it looks like Matthew Turner, because he's already played Victor Stoyanov, so he would be playing Aravamudan Balaji.
Okay.
Final round.
Yeah, and this is, I reckon this one's going to finish very soon.
Oh, look at that 7th rank.
Queen f4, knight f4, rook b2, and rook f2. Yeah. Oh, that's also very easy.
That's the whole rook.
Yeah, I have to say I trust Harry. Seen Harry playing things with no time on his clock whatsoever. He's a very fine blitz player, so yeah, you trust him to get away with that. So okay, that's a very good win for Harry Grieve. So give us the scores, Natasha.
Yeah, so the scores now. So we have in the lead Harry Grieve with 5, followed by Matthew Turner on 4.5 and Yichin Han on 4.5. And then on 4 we have Victor Stoyanov, 2 young players, Victor Stoyanov and Aravamudan Balaji, are both on 4. And then 3.5, we have Tamne Chopra and Richard Pert. And the winner, if there's a winner between Carl Moxley and Gregor Toshek, which I don't have the results to.
And also maybe Tom O'Gorman, depending on his game. Oh, let's have a look at
Let's look at Dennis Dupuy against Tom O'Gorman.
let's have a look at that one. Moonmaker, that's what we need. No, I think that one's finished there, so I'm not getting anything back for it. So, okay, so what time does the last round start, Natasha?
It will be, let me see the schedules. There we are, main schedule. Last one starts at 2:30.
2:30, so we've got another 15 minutes. So, well, let's have a look. Let's see whether I can find some of these players and
Yes.
see whether I can.
So Dennis Dupuy and Tom O'Gorman was a draw. It could be that Carl Moxley and Gregor Toshek are still playing. So Gregor Toshek, I think we followed him. He's the Welsh Dragon. Welsh Tiger, in fact, not the Welsh Dragon.
Let's have a look at Dennis's game. A good draw, actually, against Tom O'Gorman, very experienced Irish player, rated around 2,300 over the board. So what was this? This was a Caracan and knight f6, knight c6, knight f3. Now, black's got a number of possibilities in this position. Bishop e6 is quite a nice, quirky one, just trying to resolve this tension quite early. Bishop g4, these are the main lines, I suppose you'd say, but they lead to an awful lot of liquidation. It's a very famous Fischer-Erver match here. Queen takes b, queen here, knight d4, bishop b5 check, knight takes b5, and then you give a little queen check, and then you go queen takes b5, and these are very well-known endings. They've been discussed at Grandmaster level for a very long time, and they're supposed to be essentially just drawn, but never really been sort of super wowed about them. I think from either colour, to be honest. It just those are the main lines. E6 is a very solid line. Bishop d3, bishop e7, castles, castles, takes, and castles. Now, normally in an IQP position, you would play rook e1 in this position, certainly. Or a3 possibly, bishop g5 are other moves. Here white tries to liquidate early with d5. Black's not having any of it, so knight a5. And yeah, actually this leads to a little bit of problems for white. The bishop, yeah, kind of has to stay on that diagonal, so b3. But now e takes d5, knight takes d5, takes on c4. And result of the opening, I suppose, is that black's a little bit better there because you've got a weak pawn on c4 to aim for, and further opposite color bishops. So bishop e6, rook e1, queen c7, bishop g5. Black, white offering the pawn there in order to damage the black king side with bishop takes f6. Yeah, you could have done it with black, I think. But I understand if you don't. That's knight d7, c1, rook e8, queen e2, h6, bishop h4, rook ac8. Just the piece is just getting developed quite normally there. So knight queen a5, knight d4, knight f6, knight b3, queen b4, and here queen d2. Okay. Now I would have expected normally actually just to play rook takes c4 here, I think, which I guess would, that looks like an extra pawn to me. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, not quite sure why black wouldn't do that. Black took on d2, takes rook c6. Well, there's still this this weak pawn, of course. So c5. and black played rook ec8. The a2 pawn is hanging, so there's a number of times that black could have done this, but black played knight e8 first and now took on a2. And after rook e1, bishop d5, attacking the knight. So if you go rook a7, actually you're going to lose a piece now, because we take and go knight takes d6. And after c takes d6, we go rook c1.
Checkmate.
Almost checkmate from go rook e1 still, I suppose, but yeah, more or less. So knight c3, bishop e6, knight e4, a6 rook ab1. Yeah, I mean, white's black's picked up the a pawn there, but still going to be a tough one to win. The most likely scenario is that you get with a rook ending or a double rook ending with a pawn up, and indeed this is actually what happened. F3 takes, knight takes d6, takes. Yeah, this f3 move that you played f3, a little bit troubling. You wouldn't really want to do that normally, because it just means the 7th rank is a bit weak. But obviously still not going to be easy for black to make anything of this. So h3, a5.
Interactive courses.
Sorry?
It's interactive courses. Have you tried them? Have you considered doing any?
Sorry, I lost the first part of your sentence there. Sorry.
Oh, Carl Stevens is asking about Fritz Trainer interactive courses.
Oh, I've got a few on openings mainly. So there was the I did a recent one on the Benoni by Kasimzhanov, for example. They're quite interesting, those things. I mean, the thing about the chess-based interactive trainers, I do like the videos. I've got some quite a few things by Mihai Marin, for example, or who else by? Oh, these classic series on masterclass series, they call them, on all the great champions. I've done those as well. I do quite like the video format, and I like listening to them. The only thing is some of the interactive elements, they feel a bit clunky, really. So the sort of things where they ask you tactical questions, I always feel I have to click an awful lot in order to just give one reply to a question, for example. Yeah, and some of the features don't quite work for me either. I mean, you have for the opening ones, you have some sort of things like opening drills and play against Fritz from this position, and they don't work sort of perfectly for me. So they're nice ideas, but they're not quite there yet. Doing one myself, good Lord. Yeah, I've done some of those videos. So I did some for Chess24 in the past. There's a whole, I think, 40 hours of videos on that, where I was talking about games and some of my own games and some by other great players. Yeah, I mean, if I did something like that, I would actually like to do it on, but probably on something that nobody would really want to watch, which is some great old English players of the past. So like Fred Yates and H.E. Atkins and Sir George Thomas, and all these people. But I wouldn't really want to do one on openings or anything like that, because I mean, I'm not well, certainly, especially with the lockdown, I'm playing relatively little chess at the moment, so not really into the openings anymore. But the stuff that nobody would like to see, I'd love to do. I'd love to do that. It's you never know. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. But could be quite fun. I enjoyed doing the Chess24 videos an awful lot. I mean, you're in some darkish room in it was in Hamburg, I think, or Frankfurt, Hamburg, I think, and you just there's just the video camera, and a button to start and stop the video camera, and you just start talking and carry on until the end of time. Basically, it was quite fun. And I'm pretty sure it was Hamburg. It was a lovely city anyway, with a lake in the center. And I was there, and who was Kasimzhanov actually was who was working for them at the time. He was looking after me, so that was pretty nice. It was lovely catching up with Rustam. He's a lovely guy, and yeah, it was also quite fun to do as well. Let's have a look. We're still carrying on with this game. So king h7, rook e4, f5. Actually getting quite tough for white here. Rook dd2. Black has managed to get control of the 7th rank, but it's still not clear yet. But rook h3. So black managed to get 2 pawns extra there. So normally you would have thought that black would have been winning this, but a4, the pawn comes down to a3. There, I think I can see what went wrong there. So rook f4, and now black played the move rook gg2, and maybe you can spot the defensive tactic here, because white played rook takes a3 here, and all of a sudden this this rook is is in a bit of trouble, and there's no way. I don't think there's any way to get out of this. No. Okay. So rook f2, king e1, but and then rook h4, the same tactic all the time, and then rook b3. Yeah, very clever. And well, in the end, black had to agree to rook and 2 versus rook and 1, and white held the draw there. So,
well done.
Well done, Dennis. That's excellent. So that's quite an interesting game there. Let's have a look. We've got another 7 minutes, so I can just pick out maybe another game that we can have a look at that hasn't made it to.
Trying Harry Grieve against Matthew Turner, if you can get it.
Oh yeah, let's have a look. Grieve 72. Grieve 72.
So it would be 6 games ago, something like that, round 1.
It was just a known theoretical draw. This. So this is the Trompovsky, and f6 and knight h6 has been played quite a bit. Actually, Matthew Turner played this as white against. It was in the championship anyway. I think. Wait a minute, who was it against? I can't remember. One of our qualifiers, I think. And bishop d3, h5 happened. Takes. And f3, and Matthew Turner. Yeah, it was a tight game until a few tactics right at the end, and Matthew Turner got on top. But this move here, this is. I actually didn't realise that this was. I thought that this was actually quite good for black somehow, but they found their way anyway to a
Thomas Will.
Theoretical draw here. So b takes.
Must be Thomas Wills, I guess.
Could be. b5, g takes f4, bishop g4, and here Matthew Turner decided that king d6 was too brave and went back to e8, and they agreed a draw.
Saving their energies for later.
Indeed. So that was quite a funny one.
Yeah.
Let's look, another 4 minutes, so we should hopefully be seeing the pairings now for the final round.
Yes.
Not yet, but we're pretty sure that it's going to be Harry Grieve against Yichin Han.
Yes.
And I guess that Yichin will be he's due a white, isn't he? I think, since he was black against Matthew Turner, but also Harry is due a white as well because he was black against Richard Pert. So we'll see.
Harry, white, black. So he's due a white. And
so seeing a number of people who entered, but in the end didn't play. So Ketavan was there. John Merriman, who we both know, of course.
Yes.
Alan Tate, William Claridge Hanson, Matthew Wadsworth, Shreyas Royale and Oliver Stubbs. I reckon they're all keeping their energy for the bullet.
I think so. Or found it early. Kind of found it at the time. It seemed like a good idea, but then when it got to the 2nd of January, it seemed too early a start.
That is possible too.
10 o'clock start, because we didn't manage it to be at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, although I'm not sure that Ketavan will play bullet. I'm not sure about that. I don't think she was a little bit worried about playing online chess before the women's event. Although of course she did magnificently. But then if that's your feeling, I'm not sure you're gonna wage against all the quick young juniors in in the bullet competition. That could be a bit of a nightmare, I think, if you're not used to it.
Women's bullet. I think there's not a women's bullet, is there? There's a women's rapid and blitz bullet.
I saw somebody suggesting a seniors bullet and complaining that it wasn't there, but it seems a bit.
But Keith's name is down for the bullet, so hopefully we will see him in action there. So Yichin's been black, white, black, white, white, black. So I don't know if it makes any difference at all. Recovering from hangovers, I think that's also a possibility.
But that would have to be a pretty big hangover to last until 2nd of January, you would have thought.
Well, maybe they just thought, well, 2021, we might as well celebrate 1st of January as well.
Celebrate that you've still survived, that you've made it through one day of the year without.
And it's going to be better, probably, than 2020.
Played in all. Peter says some of those players who withdrew, they worked pretty hard to qualify as well. They played in all 3 qualifiers. So, yeah, strange, isn't it? It's,
yeah.
But that is the thing. I mean, you do notice with online competitions that, well, I've said it a few times. I mean, I did a shogi competition at the Mind Sports Olympiad, and the number of people who withdrew then suddenly said, "Oh no, I wanted to play again." And every round it was just incredible what was happening. After 2 rounds where somebody hadn't turned up, I took them out of the pairings. I said, "Yeah, but I wanted to play now." So it was really online organization and tournaments like that. They are quite, they're quite tricky, and you can never really predict who's going to be where. But Harry Grieve against Professor Chess. So Professor Chess, itch in hand, needs to win this one. Let's go now for the board 2 game. That's going to be with Matty Turner. Where am I here? UK chess bomber Matty Turner. Ooh, UK chess bomber playing a very aggressive same-ish variation of the against the Nimzo Indian. I mean, in general, Matty Turner is black against. He's sort of bigger rating difference basically than on board 1. So I would reckon that he would fancy his chances in this game. But UK chess bombers played very, very well in a lot of events. It's going to be an interesting one there. And okay. So Harry playing a good solid opening there with white, not taking any risks. So just a torre with Mark Hebden's favourite 3c3. It's now let's have a look. Who else have we got here? What other rounds have we got?
I can't top yet.
No, I can't actually see the 3rd round pairings. That's why I was. But we know who's up there. Let's have a look at Victor the Cool Boy.
Richard Pert and Tamne Chopra.
Victor the Cool Boy. We've got Richard Pert against Victor Stoyanov.
Yeah.
And then let's have a look at Tanmay Chopra. Indeed, Fisher fan. He's playing against Welsh Tiger Gregor Toshek.
Yeah.
So, look at this symmetrical. It's going to be tough for Black to make something of this, but well, sometimes white players when they play too solidly can go take it a bit over the top and just end up being a bit passive. Matthew Turner playing a very good system against this one. This early knight c6 is quite important because white wants to develop with bishop d3 and knight e2, and actually also with bishop g5. And this knight c6 puts a lot of pressure on the pawn, so it forces you to play a move bishop e3. And now, in actual fact, Queen A5 is quite decent here for black. This is quite an annoying little move. Again, interfering a little bit with White's development there. And at the same time, we're getting ready to play B6, Bishop A6, and Queen A4, and attack this pawn. We'll see what Matty Turner does there. We've got a few more exchanges here. So and now anti-drone Richard Pert against Victor the Cool Boy, Victor Stoyanov. Little edge for White there, just a bit more space, double pawn center. Black has exchanged off a lot of minor pieces, so from that point of view, normally you might be cramped because you're all on the back three ranks, but with two sets of minor pieces exchanged already, you're not worrying too much really. So that's going to be quite an interesting one there. Oh, a Bishop B5 Sicilian between Fischer Fan and Gregor Toshek, and yeah, Black aiming at this E5 pawn, so White plays D4. Yeah, a little bit of a weird one, this one. This knight on A3, no, it's not going to be bad. Not clear whether Black could take on D4. Take on D4 probably. Could take on D5 as well, but you'll probably end up taking on D4. Indeed, takes on D4. There's a question for Black. Are you going to play B5 to stop the knight coming into C4? But I mean, there are a lot of weak dark squares there, and you could play sometimes Bishop F4 maybe. I quite like the look of this for White somehow. Could go D6 as well. That might be the most sensible. And then I've got a couple of choices. I mean, Bishop D5 and Bishop F4 is not so stupid. If you end up swapping all these two as well, then you're left with a bishop on C8 against knight this knight. Principle, that's a good knight against bad bishop there. So a few nice possibilities for White, I think. And indeed, that has actually happened. I think, has that happened?
He's gone B5.
He's gone B5, yeah, and White did exactly what I said. He took and went Bishop F4, Queen A7. So you've got to watch out with these sort of lines as Black, because before you know it, you end up just not being able to move anything at all. What is White going to do here? Well, I mean, Knight C2 to E3, coming round to G4 and aiming at these two is a pretty strong move, really. So looking good for White there. Anti-drone against Victor Stoyanov, looking quite solid for Black here. This pawn on C3 is a bit unfortunate, really. It would be lovely if you had an open C file to attack, but you don't really have it here. So, I mean, plans like D5 are probably not really that great for White. So looking quite pleasant for Black. Yeah, D takes C5. This is going to be the one that you have to do, but I think you're really getting quite close now to sort of drawing territory. Here we are. Matty Turner did indeed do what I suggested. Queen D2 castles, and then went Queen A4, and Knight A5, Bishop D7. So a very pleasant position, I think, already for Black. Lots of pressure against this one. Only thing you've got to watch out for all the time is some moves like this, but you should be able to deal with that quite comfortably. So C takes D4, surprising move from Black, but the idea is that after C takes D4, you're going to go Rook C8, and this C pawn is actually just not going to be holdable anymore. You're just it's a very easy position for Black to play this. So yeah, I think
tricky for Aravamudin, and
things are going quite.
Yeah, I guess he'll castle and just try and defend for now.
Yeah, it's just going to be a pawn down though, so it's very hard. I mean, I've had these positions with White as well. When they go wrong, you don't just end up with oh well, I'm a pawn down. You also end up with bad pieces as well, and yeah, this.
What about if you try and counterattack with E5?
Go for it. I will take that.
I suppose you can always swap. Black can always swap queens if he wants to.
I'll take, and I'll come back here, for example.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It'd be better if your knight was still on f3, wouldn't it? Do it a different way around, and you could consider like these bishop h7 sacks. It's all not like that.
This is not very nice at all. I think the best thing for white to do here would be, I think, to go castles, and then maybe after knight takes, you go queen e2 or something like that. But I actually would think, come to think of it, maybe you should start with queen e2, because maybe Matty Turner's going to swap off queens. Maybe start with queen e2, knight c4, and then, I mean, queen a5 check is threatened, so you should probably castle, knight e3, queen e3, and play this. But I mean, you're alive still.
I bet he wouldn't fancy that, though. An end game, a pawn down against Matthew Turner.
Well, it's not an end game yet, because you've managed to keep the queens on, but this is not, this is not at all what you're playing for with white there. So oh, good lord, both sides of castle, queen side. So how's the time situation? Oh, about even there. So rook g8, pardon me. Maybe rook g3 now would be, I suppose. Is knight f6 worrying? That could be annoying, I suppose. g4, that's also quite sensible. Looking for g5, just a small edge there. Maybe f6 here is possible now. Just control e5, stop g5, and you'll maybe have e5 possibilities later. That looks quite reasonable. Anti-drone against Victor the Cool Boy. You would have thought that this would be heading for a draw. Rook a2, and then white's going to try and just put the rook on the 7th and carry on like that. Could be a little bit careful here, though, actually, because, for example, if you go rook takes, rook there, rook here, you say, okay, rook c7 attacking this pawn. Yeah. And I just go check and take here and protect it. So I mean, black's definitely on top here. But yeah, rook d1. So I think rook c8 now. And yeah, still going to have some work with white to do to show that this is a draw. Let's have a look. Rook c1 was played, and then Matthew Turner exchanged off queens and played e5. So he's just playing it positionally. Yeah, I wonder whether we could have played it a bit more aggressively there. But this looks quite. Again, this is very very decent. You're trying to break up the white pawns, and if d5, you're probably just going to go move like rook c7, I think, or b6 maybe first, and then bishop a4 to b3 and line up on the pawn. Chances are you're going to be able to. You will actually get that pawn. So, and for example, you're threatening something like takes, like, let's say h4, whatever, takes and knight b3, for example, forking these two. So, yeah, quite a few unpleasant things there. So looking pretty good for Matthew Turner, I would have thought, and a little time advantage as well. f6 played by black, and now e4 from white. That's quite a good reaction too. E6 has been weakened a bit, so you're going to try and do that. Now I'm not quite sure what black should do here. Maybe rook d8 would be an interesting one. Just get ready to protect this one, yeah, just get ready and maybe play a move like bishop d8 to c7. Rook g8 is also possible. That was definitely another possibility.
Now, of course, black needs a win in this game in order to win the tournament. Black is exactly behind, so you would want to, I guess, keep the game exciting as far as possible.
Exactly.
It looks like that this there's still a lot to happen in this game.
It's hotting up a little bit. Only actually about e5 here for white, which was why I was wondering about playing rook d8, so that if I've got this rook on here, then my rook comes quickly to f8. Yeah, he's gone e5. So white's looking to go e takes f6, and I mean, for example, a move like this, you go ef6, you can't take back with the g pawn because h6 is hanging. So you sort of automatically get a good square on e5 for the knight. So yeah, I was wondering, maybe you could just go rook f8. Actually, that's possible. White, it feels like White's making a little bit of headway here, actually. And is actually starting to pick up a few chances here. I mean, maybe the slight inconvenience for our rook f8 was played indeed. So the slight inconvenience for Black is that his king's a little bit caught at the moment with this bishop f4, whereas the White king is completely free. So I mean, that's the I think that's the biggest thing, because that makes Black a little bit wary about playing a move like c5, which is very natural. Because if the c file ever gets opened, then your king's going to be in a little bit of trouble there.
Yeah.
But,
so Black's trying to play now f takes e5, presumably.
Yeah, he's just targeting this this bishop on here. So I guess that what would be the best here? I was thinking that you would take on here, but actually this is not so clear, because you can take back with a knight on f6. And after something like knight e5 to protect g4, well, we've even got knight takes g4, or we've got knight e4. So that's actually a little bit, this is maybe a little bit annoying. What could, oh, pardon me. Oh. Queen e3 maybe it would be a sensible move. Just, yeah, just keeping it all together. That might be sensible there. Oh, okay. He took on f6 and went bishop d2. That's a slightly strange idea.
Black must feel quite happy with that, because it now looks like there are prospects perhaps on that f line.
Yeah, it's getting quite sharp now. I mean, I think White's going to play g5. I think that was the idea. And then, so you after g5 you take it. I mean, now if I go bishop g5, I've got rook f3. That's fine. But I could go knight g5, and I'm threatening knight h7 here.
Yeah.
Forking the two rooks. And if you take on f2, then I take on e6, which doesn't look bad at all for White. This is this looks, because you've got all sorts of ideas. Also got stuff like queen g3. With and this actually looks quite awkward. So oh no, but White just went rook e1 in this position. I'm surprised about that. I thought g5 looked quite interesting, really. So White goes rook e1 and then bishop d6.
So they've only got 4 minutes each left. Final round of the rapid play. Black needs a win.
Yes, it's a tense one, really. I think White's still doing quite well here, actually. Took back with a bishop. Okay, I was really thinking we're going to take back with a knight there. Taking back with a bishop.
This trick now you can't do though. Before we had the f3 trick.
Well, I mean, e6 is hanging, but we've got. Oh, he's going to do that, is he? Maybe. So rook f5. I was thinking rook e6. We just go. Oh, okay. We go rook e6. I go rook g5 because knight g5. I've got bishop f4 check. But I'm guessing that the aim is to go rook takes d6. Now, is this possible? So it's a little bit. Feels a little bit fraught somehow. But maybe it's just all. It's maybe just all possible. I'm going to give a check.
C2.
I want to come around here. There's some sort of chances, but whether these are real chances, I don't know really. I mean, you've got stuff like queen f5, maybe. I've got queen a4 check. It doesn't quite feel right for Black. So he's got rook f5, rook e6. So Yichin Han is thinking about this one now. You've got to take a decision fairly quickly, because rook e8 check is going to be an idea if you don't hurry, or even queen takes f5 followed by rook e8. I mean, that's actually the biggest threat. So, for example, if I go a6 there, I can take and go rook e8 and bishop d8 here. So this is a pretty big threat. pretty crucial here. This is really where it's going to... Okay, he's done it there.
Yeah.
Okay, he's just gone back to f5. Okay. Again, yeah, I was thinking more about maybe rook g2. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Maybe might not be good. But this is looking okay for Harry here now. So rook g6, a simple move, attacking g7 there. And you just keep this rook, defending the third rank like that. Now, I would think that black would really need to... The problem is, I mean, white's got rook takes, and then this h pawn is a bit of a monster, really.
Yeah.
So rook f7, that's not bad. That's but I go rook g3 now, I think. Yeah, just hitting this one. Yeah, black's under a bit of pressure now. This has not turned out well at all for black. Queen c7, but I think we can just take on g7 here, actually.
f4.
Yeah, the thing is, I've always got knight d2, so if you go here, I go knight d2 simply. Takes and then h6. And I don't think you can't. I'm quite well covered, really. You don't have anything like this, really. So that looks quite strong to me. Let's have a look how Matthew Turner's doing. Ooh. Matthew Turner is doing incredibly well there. So got a big pin on this pawn. B takes c4 threatened, and no way to defend this one. So this is looking very... Richard Pert held the draw against Viktor Stoyanov, so that's very good. Fischer fan, oh yeah, big bind there, looking very strong against Gregor Toshek. Just need to find the way to come through. Knight takes d5 looks quite sensible here, I think. So back to this one, Queen f4, King c2. Oh yes, the white didn't take the pawn on g7. I think he could have done, but this is very safe as well. It's going to come to more or less the same thing in general, I think. Although, yeah, it gives black the opportunity to target this pawn, and you could have traded this g pawn for this f pawn, which seems like a lovely trade to me. Mm-hmm. And instead here, black might just play a move like Queen h4. Something like that, just to grab this pawn on h5. So, or knight f6 even. So yeah, I'm not 100%. I'm not as keen on that move as anything else. But white is still clearly better. Just an extra pawn there. Oh, Matty Turner is looking very, very good there. So I think bishop c4. We're going to play knight a4, and then we're just picking up a piece there. So it looks more or less over there for UK chess bomber. Queen f5. Okay. So yeah, no, this is going to be a little bit more. It's got a little bit more tricky for white. It's just a pawn up, but nothing. Not too much extra on top of it. Whereas it really was a nice thing. And of course, Harry would really want to win this one because that would give him clear first. Whereas a draw will only get equal first with Matthew Turner. So that would be rather nice. I mean, maybe you should just go rook g5 here and just keep the pressure on. He's taken. Okay, the h pawn is going. Maybe f3 or something like that. Not quite sure what he's... I suppose f3 would be the move. Rook g8, he's playing it very, very safe. Yeah, I mean, it's an extra pawn, so, it should be... it's going to be a bit of torture for black, in principle.
Are they getting an increment? What are they, 2 minutes against 1 minute? Must be getting some kind of increment.
They are getting some sort of increment, I think, yeah. Oh, dear, pardon me. It's, what is the increment? It's 10 plus 5, so they're getting 5 seconds increment each time.
Yeah.
Rook takes f8. Let's see whether Fischer fan is finishing brilliantly. Queen g4 from Gregor. He's a tough defender, Gregor, so and defending quite well there. Queen to g4. How would we want to do this? Queen f6 check. I was wondering about whether you should maybe just go for the exchange of queens, actually, but rook d2 and maybe queen g3 here. That looks like quite an annoying little move there, just threatening rook to c1. Not quite sure what's White doing here.
White's a bit out of checks.
He's played by Tocek.
So you can swap queens by giving up a pawn with queen g5.
Yeah, but then you're not really better anymore. And you were supposed to be winning.
I feel like Black's doing fine.
We have got rook c2 in this position. That is the point, I think.
Yes. Okay.
And if queen g5 curses. No, yeah. Oh dear me. Yes. No. Rook c2 here was I think quite strong. Obviously, rook c2 allows queen h8.
Yeah.
And
e1.
I just come here. You don't have any checks, not from e3 and not from e1. So this would be completely winning for White. But this now is not very clear at all. Who is better and why? I'm not sure actually. I mean, White is going to have might be able to manage to get a couple of powerful passed pawns, but the Black King is quite is going to be quite dangerous. We could just go for the all-out gamble and go here, knight f6, bishop a2, knight d7, and then something like a4, and see who's going to be faster.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite sure. I mean, this a pawn really runs. I mean, I go bishop b3 and a3, a2, but a bit unclear what sort of state you get onto there. But that would be a possibility. But Black playing a bit more solidly with king f5. Looking for king e4 to e3, I guess, because this rook's a little bit short of squares. Knight f6 is possible here, maybe quite sensible. I suppose Black could play d6 now and just try and undermining this pawn and just yeah. Actually, this is quite annoying. This rook has really got very few squares here, so this might be very annoying. This Welsh Tiger declined a draw, so
Okay.
oh, okay. H4 here, also interesting. Just trying to pin down this king, but yeah, I think maybe d6 was better maybe, but nah, it's also not bad at all. Let's have a look at Harry Grieve, board 1. Oh, so Black has managed to get the pawn back.
Gosh.
Did he intend that? Oh, good lord. Yeah, I think he just blundered it. Rook f8, he went king d3. Oh, dear me. So now he's got the same position as before, but without a pawn. I mean, if he'd just gone, if he'd just gone f4 here, he's just completely winning.
Yeah.
But now it's not very clear. Now it's probably just a draw now.
It looks pretty even, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh my goodness, dramatic. UK Chess Bomber's still going against Matty Turner, but he's a whole rook down, so that's not going to work. Welsh Tiger has won. Oh my goodness. White self-mated.
Oh, that was quick.
Yeah, White self-mated with rook g4, rook h1 there. Oh. So so now we're waiting on well, Matty Turner's going to win. We're waiting on Harry Grieve, who's making a bit of an attempt to win this. Oh, good lord. Was that necessary? Oh, no, it's not. Rook d5 now simply wins. Simply
So
wins.
now it's looking more promising for white.
So now it's rook and 2 versus rook and 1. Yeah, this is not so pleasant for black. That's really weird. Why did black? Why did you play c takes b5 here? That is quite strange. I think king c8 would have been sensible, surely. But okay, so white is going to white down to 7 seconds, black down to 13. King c7, rook b5. Okay, rook d5 or king c4. Maybe prefer to keep my rook h1. So maybe rook g5 now, or rook c5. Fair enough. King b6. Rook g5 now. Okay, knight b3. Fine. I'd prefer rook g5. I think that was a bit more trappy, a bit more tricky. This is just an easy move for black. Rook g5 now, I would have thought. Just to get the rook the other side and threatening rook g7 and knight c5. That would look like a good way to me. Come on, Harry. 1 second. Oh, d5. Ooh.
Okay.
That's not right. That's not right. That's not right. That's not right at all. You had black's pieces totally under control here, and yeah, you've just given that away. I mean, rook h2 check now. You're on the back rank even.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was not good. Not good. I don't think, in principle, I can't imagine you winning this now. I mean, actually, maybe I'm being a bit of a drama queen. I was wondering about knight d3 and trying to trap this rook on b5, actually. But king d6 was an odd one. Knight c4. Well, knight f5, maybe. King e5. Yeah. I think we're going to be getting an agreed draw very soon now. Oh, bit of a drama there for white. You could have had all of this, but with an extra f pawn as well, virtually. You know, so that would have been. But this is now looking just like a draw. King c1, rook c2. So king, woohoo! And we're just going to get a draw by repetition now. Yeah, exactly. Well held back.
We have
joint
winners of the tournament.
Indeed. Or is Harry going for it? Oh, come on.
I spoke too soon.
Got to be careful about these things. So you can often say that the he's going for it. My goodness, you know, the time often to have won this sort of game was before, you know, and at this moment, you know the chances that you realistically have are maybe not that great. Of course, in principle, you shouldn't, you know, you shouldn't be able to mess this up with white, but it just, I just really wonder whether that you've got any chances at all with black.
Oh.
It's just incredibly. It is just very risky, you know, to do this. I just really wonder whether, you know, do you have any practical chances here at all? Because you know, black's a young player as well. He's a pretty good blitz, so it's not like playing an oldie who might get nervous with his flag hanging. You know, this is somebody who's playing blitz all the time, you know, online. So the chances of actually beating them, I think, are very small in this position. And the chance of blundering something are just as high. Harry down to 4, 3, 2, 1. I think this is going. I think they're going to stop here, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Draw.
It's draw.
Okay. Fantastic.
So well done, Matthew Turner and Harry Grieve.
who come out on top with 5.5 out of 7.
Yes, I don't know about tiebreak and how that's split. But they've got another game this evening, those two. Actually, it's not this evening, is it? It's this afternoon. Let's check the time.
This afternoon at 3:50, I think.
3:50, is it? Let's see. Championship and playing schedule. So the game's at 4, and we will be starting our broadcast at 3:50, which is actually in 50 minutes from now.
Yeah, so I'm going to get I'm going to curl up with a cup of coffee and a pack of chocolate digestives.
Yes.
And then when I've got through all of them, I will come back, which should be just about 3:50, and come back and we can have a look at the 8th round. The 8th round, I think, isn't it, of the championship?
Yeah,
Thanks, Peter.
Yeah. It's Michael Adams against Matthew Wadsworth on top board. Then Harry Grieve, Matthew Turner, Ameet Ghasi, and Tristan Cox.
Hey, Rock Troll
good line.
At the top, 4-3. Looking forward to that. So yeah, hopefully see you in about 50 minutes.
See you then. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.